Hello, hello, hello.
It's Mummy.
Yeah, right, Mom.
Oh, there we go. Hello, son.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's been a long day today.
Oh, well, perhaps just as well I didn't come over then.
Well, and if you'd have come over today, I mean, I don't think we'd have gone far. It's been literally thunderstorming all day.
Oh, we had, um, I don't know what time it was, maybe about 4-ish. And it looks like it's going to start again now.
We've just had a couple of bouts of like snippets of sunshine, but it's had that really heavy, um, thunderous feel to it all day.
Oh, yeah. It's very warm, isn't it?
Oh, very warm. Let's wait for some more people to come on.
I've signed up for next week's because it would let me do next week's.
Just give me one sec. You've only sent two, Christina, yeah? I mean, my pick probably would be the number two. I'd send number two to them. Although the top of the book looks a bit sparse. I'd probably maybe move You Two Can Bloom up. I don't know. Send it over, we'll get some feedback. Wow, that thunder is so heavy. So what have you been cracking on with today then, Mum?
Didn't do an awful lot this morning. I've been gardening this afternoon. Front garden needed weeding and I had some plants to put in. I bought 2 lavenders, so they've gone in.
Can you do a cutting of lavender? I'd quite like some fresh lavender.
Well, I'll buy you one.
Well, you got green fingers, just like grow one.
Well, I can try. How long are you planning on this call lasting?
Oh, I don't know. Like they'll never last for more than 90 minutes, but we'll just see where we get to after. Do you not think he looks like a game show host with that picture? I think he looks like he presents radio or television or something like that. Like he's just got that.
Oh, not radio. You can't see him on the radio.
Well,
We
that would
definitely.
be like his image though. And you when you went on the website, it would be like your host Ollie,
You talking
things
about
like
me?
that. Yeah,
I'm
like
afraid I don't.
it just does. It's definitely got a Saturday morning kids presenter energy to
I
it.
definitely
Yeah.
don't look as presentable now.
You
I've
look
got my
totally different
lockdown
now, if
hair
I'm honest. Like you look like his
a
brother.
mess.
And
That's
here
it.
and here's Ollie's brother who didn't quite make it.
Like his brother.
Richard looks like he's in a rap band. That's what that profile
Yeah.
photo says.
Hi,
And I
Mum.
think that was Richard's first career before like all artists do. They leave, then they get into some sort of investment that's really dodgy, and then enters crypto.
Yeah.
So what did you do
Some
after you were a
guy.
number one sensation? Well, I actually took all my money and I put it all into tomato coin, and I made 20 million.
Happened.
So we shall see. So we meet again.
Yeah,
Hang
it's
on,
been a while
Tammy.
since I've managed to make one of these calls.
I
So
know, and I think it's really interesting. Like as soon as something happened in my life, and I thought, right, I can't make a call this week, and then it's so easy to just it drops off. Tammy, are you with us? Let's make sure my phone doesn't let me join. I've not used Zoom before. I'm here. Gonna listen. Well, you're welcome to speak, Tammy, because you're not muted. No, maybe just Maybe just an on the sides bystander for this call. Well, you're welcome to speak if you wish, Tammy. Oh, you muted
Oh,
yourself.
hi. I think I figured it out. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Well done.
I'm
Well,
here.
welcome to the world of Zoom.
Oh, thank you.
It is a prerequisite to use Zoom at least once before you buy any cryptocurrency.
I've got to do this then. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you do.
thank
It's
you.
like
Hello,
it's like
everybody.
there's like rites of passage, and at some point, everyone has to enter what will probably become the future of a lot of communication.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, hello, everybody. I'm looking forward to just listening.
Cool. I'm wouldn't want to assume, so just so we can have an idea, do you have any experience in crypto, and do you have anything in particular you'd like to discuss or listen to during this call about anything?
Well, thank you for asking. No, I've literally the only experience I've got is what goes on in the group that you've created, which is really good.
Okay.
So yeah, that is literally it. It's something I just haven't had a chance to delve into. So I'm happy guys and learn as I go along.
Have you managed to watch the previous videos on YouTube, Tammy?
Yeah, I've watched some of those. Yeah, absolutely. Not all of them. I've just not had chance. But yeah, I've watched some of them, and they've been quite useful.
Definitely. So far.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was a total novice to start with as well. So
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how
lots
quickly things
from-
grow. You would. And I'm just gonna move my what internet I'm on. I seem to be breaking up. It might be the lightning. So have I lost everyone? No, they're back. So we'll see how we get on. The Northwest has got quite a lot of weather at the minute. So we'll see how well Virgin Internet weathers the storm.
My internet's always not very good.
Your internet and my internet.
Your internet's not been good the last few times we've spoken.
I like how all these calls after 6 weeks or 7, however many weeks it's been, there's always at least one person eating. That's what I like. It's good. It shows that we have a relaxed group, you see.
It's been more than once, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think Rich is just always eating. So for yourself, Tammy, anyway, and a reminder for everyone else, Tammy, this is Ola, this is Elaine. Elaine's my mother. That's Richard as well. Depends on who's on what we cover. Generally, there's a lot of crypto because it's just something that we're all passionate about. And once the penny drops with blockchain and crypto, and once you start to just see its potential use and what's happening with the world financially, it's one of these things. It's the first time in history we're able to see. I might turn my video off as well. Let's have a look.
I've just had a bath. I'm thinking, oh God,
No, it's more because my internet.
Yeah.
I do that regularly.
I'm just gonna see how I get on with it.
Tammy.
Yeah, I mean, I was particularly interested with all of these kind of things, but we have got a couple of like properties and just making some decisions in terms of finances and yeah, I think this will educate me a little bit on maybe some options that we might have that I don't know about already.
Are there rental properties?
Now, yeah.
Like city centre
ones that we own.
Right.
No, there's just 3 in Burnley, 1 in Skipton, and then 1 with.
Cool. And are they family owned, or have you got control over them?
No, they're ours. Yeah, they're ours.
Okay. Well, I can definitely say that there's at least one person on this call whose whole focus has been property for, well, a long time. And I'm pretty certain. Well, I don't want to speak to Richard, but I know that you were. If you're happy sharing your current property status, Richard?
I sold my last HMO just before lockdown.
Oh yeah.
I'm out of it.
To give Tammy a perspective on that, because we've all got properties, but we all have different models, I suppose. But what was your
Yeah.
reasoning for getting out of property, Richard?
Good question.
It was the way it was set up originally. So it's two things basically. It would become in tax inefficient for us the way we had it set up. It worked when we bought the properties. It didn't turn out to be quite the passive income that we anticipated or wanted it to be.
That makes sense.
So having to work when they were young, and you could sort of carry them around with you, but as we got older and other things took more of an interest, it just took too much time. It's not doing it, so it was time to get out. That was our reason for leaving it.
Oh, thanks, Richard, for sharing that.
And I would probably say, like I share mine with an old friend I grew up with. So we both have like joint ownership in a few properties, and because of a conversation he had with another friend of mine, he phoned me up yesterday and he went, "I've been speaking to such and such a person." I said, "Oh yeah," and he went, "This crypto blockchain stuff." He went, "I think I like it now." And I said, "I've been talking to you about it for like 4 years," and he said, "Yeah, but today I decided it might actually be part of the future." So all this time he's just been kind of just sat on the sideline. So he still thinks that property is what he wants to hold on to, but at the same time he believes that crypto will be a stronger bet. But we're of the space that we can't just offload ours at the minute. We've got tenants in them, and we really look after our tenants. And I wouldn't want to. I could only sell to another investor, to another landlord. But I think unless you're really making the property work for you, which we're not really, and like Richard said, for him, we've looked at it over 5 years, and the amount of time and effort and energy we've put into it, I just don't think we have enough to make it work for us. So I think property can work for some people, but we got into it with that traditional view, thinking, oh, it'd be easy, be a landlord, have a couple of properties.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's always a little bit more.
I think if it's your full occupation, then it makes sense because you're doing something you like doing. It fills your time, and it's not something else. If you're trying to do something else, phones you up from a leak pissing out over a ceiling to sitting there in the dark wanting to go around and change the light bulb on a Friday night when you've opened your second bottle of wine. It's a very different as a job. It's a very different thing. So it's that really, isn't it? It's the level of time. It was time for us.
That makes absolute sense. Definitely. And I think once you've got so many and it is just a full-time job, then it's probably easier to manage. But as you say, I've got 2 little ones as well, and it just becomes very difficult.
So are you, Ollie, do you want to share your current between property and crypto stance? You don't have to, but it's just if you wish.
Yeah, no problems. So I mean, we've been I've had property for kind of quite a number of years now. 2008 kind of started. So we've got a portfolio of student HMOs in Chester and Liverpool. Total of 12 rental properties. So 72 rooms across the portfolio. And we've kind of moved through, I think a lot of people start at landlord level, and you kind of have to move up those levels. Landlord level, then investor level, you kind of got entrepreneur level, which you describe as kind of, you almost make a business of property rather than ownership of property. And you kind of need to move through those levels. So we've been started very much at landlord level, then tried to get into investor level, and just kept dropping back into landlord level. Obviously, as you buy new properties, you kind of need to be in that position before you can move the property up into being much more passive. But I mean, I think we've hopefully got to a good place where we're doing it full time, got enough Uh, we've got a couple of employees that work full time for us now, both virtual, based in the Philippines. So it's fairly systemized and streamlined. But it's time to get, hasn't really ever given us the income and the passive lifestyle that we thought it would do. Systemized it now to a point where hopefully it will give us that we believe it will. It's more kind of leveraged than it'll be passive. Obviously, we've got employees now. I think we're just reasonable about the expectation of profit that we make now compared to what we were hoping for and expecting. So those kind of things combined, we are hoping that investor level, and rarely we'll drop down to the landlord level when we need to, but hopefully we'll sit at that investor level for traveling as of October as soon as we can. So we'll be traveling, and I mean, it's been virtual for years now. We've just which is what takes the time, but hopefully the VAs will do that for us.
And
we'll
Ollie,
move on to our next venture, which will not be property.
I was going to say, from your perspective, because we'll get to some other stuff in a minute. I'm just curious from did looking at crypto change your viewpoint on property at all, or looking at the future of where markets are going, downturns, upturns, political changes, anything like that? Has any of that affected your stance on where you sit with regards to property from an investment and a future perspective?
My interest in crypto has grown, but my belief in property hasn't really disappeared. I think it changed every so often over the years without any real level of consistency. It's always fluctuated. Obviously, we're highly likely to go into a full global crash, depression, whatever you believe will happen, and there'll be a significant impact on property. But I do believe that based on an island with limited space and planning laws as they are, ability to produce and create housing for people, there's still going to be to pivot, but into the young professionals rather than doing solely student. But that ain't going to be a problem. We'll just deal with it.
Rental demand's only gone up and up.
See that we're going to be, we might not make £100 a week. We might make 80, or it might make in that we can make 120. But whatever happens, it's about managing your expectations. And if you can pivot to, I don't know, SA, if you choose to want more work, or you want to, put it into single lets and get a lot less, you can cheaper mortgage and so on.
Yeah.
There's lots of options. I still believe in property, but I'm seriously interested in crypto and to kind of have. I think I don't know. Did our first video make it on the YouTube channel, Dan? I think
mine and yours. I think I added the one where it was just me and you before I started these groups. I think I checked some of it just to make sure what we went through, and I think I put it on because I thought it was quite useful because we covered quite a lot of stuff. Before we dive into stuff, then, is there, besides us generally discussing what's been musings and going on, from Richard, is there anything that you want to particularly cover, or is we just kind of just meander through conversations?
I don't think so. I mean, it's been a fairly core of what's been going on in the markets. I mean, we've been exchanging WhatsApps on the side, haven't we, into terms of what we've been doing and thinking, and how we've been doing with it. It's not really anything. I mean, I've had to dial out of it for a week just because of lots of other things that have been going on in our lives over the last week. Obviously, been keeping a close eye on it, on things. What am I doing? I suppose what I'm trying to do, I went from a point of being heavily invested in XRP to investing loads more into Bitcoin. So I became, really all research has gone into that. What I'm trying to do at the moment is I've got 3 or 4 other investments in other cryptos as well. And it's about learning the use cases for those and really getting under the hood with some of those, because I reckon there's probably 4 or 5 massive opportunities at the moment in terms of if you want to invest and make a return on crypto. Any the thoughts on those are, and I'm also just interested because the reason it interested me massively at the start of all this many months ago was around environment findings in what it means for the crypto space, because I think the interesting thing about crypto space is you can be in it just to try and make a quick buck, but I think that misses much crypto and blockchain brings to the party, and what it actually presents for people in terms of democratizing money and owning their own money. So I'm particularly interested in those about that because and where it could possibly go. So that's just general.
Almost like the tokenization of value.
Yeah, but also worst case scenario, banks crash. What does it mean for people, and how does it change how does the system change? Or how can it change with crypto? And at the moment, it seems the potential is that if people aren't in crypto now, or not enough people know about it, it's going to eventually get taken over by big financiers, and you might be remodeling the same inequalities within crypto. It might not happen, but I think there's a lot of players in the space that don't want that sort of getting manipulated, can't it? So I'm just interested in people's thought processes once you get into the hood of crypto and what it can actually mean. Is it decentralized? Is it not? And I believe it can, but it depends how many people get on board before it's taken over by.
Yeah. Before it's co-opted, effectively.
Yeah.
Ollie, besides everything Rich has kind of covered there, is anything like specifically you would love to discuss on this call?
You might have talked about it already, so apologies if I think just running over private key and public key, that should only take a couple of moments, and also buying in strategies and exiting strategies would be useful to, as we've discussed. I think I've got some money that I'm interested in putting in to crypto, and it's just fairly familiar with the concept of just buying a certain amount every month and just spreading the kind of the wave of the prices going up and down by buying in a set intervals, but I guess it's all the kind of stop loss and selling.
Cool. We can definitely kind of skim over that. And
only a skim thing. I don't think we spend too much time on it.
Well, there's some videos I definitely want to link to.
What? Cool.
Sorry if I'm cutting people up. My internet's like you're all catching up all of a sudden sometimes, so it's difficult to just know when people aren't speaking. Mom, anything you want to know more about, or just on for the ride?
No, I'm here for the ride.
You haven't sold your house yet, then, Elaine, to buy crypto.
I'm still thinking about that one.
Okay,
it's,
so
well, gold.
oh, it's Richard's fault that you've got into gold now, isn't it? I'll never forget that message. I've been watching these videos Richard sent, and I'm thinking of selling my house and buying gold. So really quickly for Tammy, just dead simply, like when you have a crypto wallet, it's like having a house. House is worth money. Crypto wallet might have some money in it. And the only two things I need to break into your house is I need to know your address and I need your key.
Yeah.
If I have one without the other, it's kind of pointless. Yeah. So your public address is like your house. So it's like your account number and your sort code is your public address. And your private keys is like the key to your house, or it's your username and password and 10-digit security code and fingerprint and face recognition for your bank. And it's about this long, and it's unhackable, which isn't true, but like it's pretty good at the minute. It's certainly the standard. So that's your public key and your private key. I posted a video today, Ollie. If you watch that, Digital Asset News does a brilliant job of explaining all that. Just 1 second.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll just watch that, and if I've got any questions, I can.
The reason I said that is because it's literally, it's a really good video. It's a 40-minute video, but I tell you what, in terms of understanding hard wallets, soft wallets, warm wallets, keys, he's done a very good job of it. And I'll point to him again. He's done a whole video on exit strategies as well. Because once you clear on what you want to exit at, like I've got some of my friends who are happy to exit XRP at like 50 cents, whereas someone else might be like, I'm not touching it till it's at $1. So it's probably a good idea to have a call where we just discuss what we each think is a level that we're going to exit at, because I still haven't cemented for me what I want to exit at, and I know I need to, because I know when the bull run comes, I'm assuming what that will feel like. So you're aware, Tammy, we're at the very bottom of what pretty much everyone thinks is going to be a massive parabolic run to the upside. Like there might be a bit of a dip before, usually a bit of a drop. So we're at something that happens every 3 or 4 years because it goes in cycles. Basically the whole world, every single day there's videos going, is this the moment? So could be this week, could be next month, but it's coming. So when that happens, what Ollie's question there is about is like, whilst everything's calm, making your decisions on what level something gets to before you sell, instead of trying to maximize everything, missing the top and selling on the downward trend when everyone else is trying to sell, and panicking.
No, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
I mean, obviously I'm way behind, but feel free to continue your conversations as usual, and
Cool.
if I'm confused with anything, or I can always message you separately. I don't want to hold you back on conversation.
No, don't worry about it. It's an open group and call for everyone at every level. So we won't spend too much time going over stuff we've gone over before, but sometimes it's nice to just have these little bits of information, because it just makes the next 5 minutes of conversation make a bit more sense. So don't worry about it.
We would do. I'd love it as many people as possible could even just start learning about it, and I think going back over it again and again. From my point of view, the more people that know about it, the better, I think.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Ask any questions, Tammy. Really seriously, if you don't, if you don't understand, we didn't understand at the start either. It does seem pretty overwhelming when we're about it.
And also, like, it's really nice that the fact that your only exposure to gone. Something you said?
Pissed her off.
No.
Yeah, must have.
Unless we really want you to learn.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure she'll be back. So I haven't done my.
Just one thing, Ollie, on that. Oh, sorry, I was going to say on that digital asset news. I think he still posts every time under all his videos. There's a link to a Google sheet with his different exit strategies on.
Oh, brilliant.
He does.
So he's even done it for you. What bag you've got, I think, as well.
Yeah. Do you know what's really weird though? When you make a copy of his spreadsheet, he's not even used formulas. They're all typed and they're actually incorrect. It'll say like 20% and he's put a figure in. If you actually make the calculation,
really?
it's yeah. And I got really confused one day and I'm like, where's he got these figures from? But he does say many times maths is not his strong point.
He's very basic, but I do like him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think blockchain backers also got some as well. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking over you.
No, it's because I've got a delay and like everything keeps catching up. I haven't seen blockchain backers, but I'll tell you what, of the two, blockchain backers been through this before. And I don't think Digital Asset News has, from racking my brain thinking about it. I very much warmed to blockchain backer more and more over the past few months.
He just nails it all the time. He's really simple. His videos don't waffle too much, and he's always on point. I think he's called it. Of all TA videos I've seen, he's the least hypey, and quite often the most accurate. Or it seems like he is, because he's not like alarm bells going off and.
Let's call this crypto.
You realise what they're actually talking about is a drop in value that I'm not really bothered about because I'm not day trading. Do you know what I mean? But all it does is it stresses you out until you realise that. Do you know what I mean?
And
so I've flipped the other way now to sort of watch people that are much more longer term holders. You know what I mean? Rather, I would never trade. So
from that, because I want to raise one of Ollie's points, which was around dollar cost averaging, buying a little bit every day. I think the reason Digital Asset News dollar cost averages is because he's not sat on a load of money, and he's working, he's run some businesses, and he just buys a little bit every day. And he was using Coinbase, and he was using Coinbase's automatic recurring buying thing. And I can see the simplicity in that. He's in America, he's got very limited options on what he can use. I put a substantial increase in my investment the other day, and I was messaging Richard about this, and I was like, it's really funny because I felt like Alan for a moment, and even if Alan was on here, I'd share this. Like, I was going on my crypto.com, and I was like, right, okay, 10 grand. Okay, how much will I get? Okay, Binance, how much will I get? Okay, and then I suddenly realized that in the time I'd spent doing that, looking at the differences, crypto had moved 5%, right? Which is nothing in crypto. But the difference between all of these was like 0.5%. And then I started thinking about, let's say it was at 9,500 US for Bitcoin. And I was like, okay, well, should I buy a bit now? So I kind of put half in. And then it suddenly dawned on me, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it can go to 9,799, it can go to 9,1. Yeah, that's a 10% difference, but I realized that stress is the wrong word, but pressure I felt in trying to get the best price in, when in all the time I'm looking, it's moving that much, and I haven't got a bloody clue. Tomorrow it could drop to 7.5. Of course it could. And it came, and that's when me and Richard were messaging, and it comes back to that timing more than time in versus timing. And the minute I just went, I was in the garden, I remember doing that. I thought, you know what? And I just got my phone and I just bought at market price, because if I'd have done limit price, there wasn't even enough Bitcoin to fulfill my order. And it's in. And all of a sudden I felt this wave of, it doesn't matter because I'm in it for a long-term hold. So I
think we've talked about it before, where we've kind of said, you have to realize what kind of person you are in crypto, because it's too easy to become a trader and stress about all these. And I don't want that in my life. I don't want, the stress. I'll keep an eye on it every day, but you don't want to be. Thing you can do at that point is to extract your you know, as much as you want to onto a hard wallet, cold wallet, and just leave it, because then it, you know, you keep your end in, keep the video. But I think I said to you, it's like, because I've gone from one end where you're completely looking at so many different technical, minute, you know, minutiae about every single crypto. You know, if you're just in that place, it's you will just, you know, you've definitely got to be a certain type of person to A, enjoy it, and B, understand it enough to enjoy it.
and most importantly, to do something with it.
Yeah, but forget what the stats are. But if you've held crypto, particularly Bitcoin, you will have made 10 times more money than any trader over the last 5 years. It's something ridiculous. There's a stat like that says if you make a good decision, buy at a decent time, sell at a decent time, if that's what you do, or made more money than these sort of leverage traders who just, you know, because nine out of 10 traders don't make money. You know what I mean? You have to be that one. Are you that 10% in most results? So.
No, I'm definitely not that 10%. Apart from the 1 in 10 chance when I am. So of the 10 trades I put on, one of them I do really, really well with. Yeah.
Nailed the market. All on me that was.
Yeah, that's it. I won't tell you about the other 9 trades I did. So that's been my recent. It's not so much a recent U-turn, Ollie, but it made me realize that I don't want to use Coinbase. I don't want to use Coinbase's automatic feature. I'm not bothered. When chunks of money come in, I kind of want to get rid of it in the safest, simplest possible way into the asset I want to choose before I start touching it or anything like that. I'd rather it just be gone. So if it's not silver, then it's crypto for me. So that had been my realization this week, that I feel much calmer putting it in. And sometimes when I'm looking at smaller coins, because I quite like having 10% in some of your more future ones. Like I follow people like BitBoy and a few others, because they're always looking at your altcoins that have got less than a $1 million market cap. And I'm starting to get my head around this, that if you're looking at a return, which is different, Richard's been talking about like what's the tech that's going to help humanity, which I love some of that. But if you're looking at a return, it's easier to get a 100x return on a coin that's got a 1 million market cap than it is to get a 100x return on a coin that's got a $100 million market cap. And there's tons of coins. And I said this on one of the other calls. I've been tracking him for 3 months now, and I've had 120% return and 160% return. And this is like staying in coins sometimes for a month, and he'll stay in some for 6 months. And so I've been enjoying doing that. And because I'm only doing it with 10% of my portfolio, and I'm quite confident the other 90% will yield me more than 10%, in a way, I'm happy to lose it, but I'm doing educated decisions on it, and I'm actually learning a lot about some of the up and coming coins. So that's where I spend more time now, and I enjoy that, because it's the time scale's quicker, because you're aware of it, and within 3 weeks I might come out. But if I didn't come out, I'm still okay. I just might miss the top, and instead of getting 150% return, I might only get an 80% return. But you know what? That's obviously a ridiculous return, but it's only got a small amount of my portfolio. So I've found a way to split my brain into which are the things that I hold, and I do not care about the price. Like, it's talk to me in a couple of years. And then there's a little bit that I'm interested in, because I do like the charts, but I can't spend ages. I'm not going to risk 80% of my portfolio on me making a decision on a chart. Absolutely no way. But I'm happy to put 10% in on that.
Another guy, good opportunities. A guy, I think he's called Crypto Lark or Lark Davies. Have you seen him?
Yeah, he's good. Camp? Yeah, the guy that does this all the time. I'm the
crazy
Crypto
shirts.
Lark.
Yeah, but he's good at opportunities as well. And he's.
I sent you his Ethereum video.
You might have done. Yeah. That was it. Yeah. No, he's good. He is.
He talks really good sense. So Crypto Lark and BitBoy, they'll often discuss some of your smaller coins. Crypto Lark just did a video where he explained what his portfolio was, how he split it, and how he splits coins into 3 coins. Long term, so like he'll have a certain percentage of his Bitcoin in long term, 5 years, 10 years. Then he has like medium long term, so he might have it in for a few years, and he's got some Bitcoin in there because in a few years he might exit. And then he's got shorter term, which might be like anything up to a year. And in this one here, he's talking about putting like 1% into things like VeChain and Dogecoin and Kyber. And as I'm going through all these videos now, because I understand the top 10 fairly comfortably, what I'm trying to understand is from a collection of these people who I deem to be fairly astute, the same names keep circulating. There's about, I'd say there's probably about 12 names that I keep hearing. And between them all, they all pick 3 or 4 of them. And that's what I'm trying to narrow down now. Of these 12-ish sort of coins, which are the 4 that I want to play with? Because some of them are going to absolutely skyrocket. So you put $1,000 in there and you've got 100 grand out the back end. And they're the sort of things that I'm happy to play with and just see where it kind of goes, because the bottom of this run now, truth be known, we've got no idea. All of a sudden, one of these coins could just completely trample everybody else. Last week, I got I'm heavily invested in VeChain. VeChain got a 35% growth in like 4 hours. Now I didn't exit, but just seeing that like 35%, like, and I've been following VeChain for quite a while, so it's I think it's good to have awareness in some of these smaller market cap coins. Just for Tammy there, when we say market cap, we mean the total value of that particular, how much all the coins are worth. If there's 1,000 coins and they're £1 each, the market cap for that coin is £1,000.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I would just kind of touching on some of the stuff Richard said. I want to talk about Grayscale and Van Eck and all of these big institutions, because I'm starting to get my head around how much big money's coming into crypto. Thank you, darling.
Nice.
Don't quite know how I'm gonna eat this yet, but we'll see what happens as the call goes on. Pardon?
Is this not a fasting day? Is this not a fasting day then?
Yeah. Do you see the?
Show me again, Danny.
The pizza.
This isn't just any pizza. This is caramelized banana pizza.
Oh wow.
Oh please.
Oh, honestly, Christina invented it when we were in Spain. It is on a 4-cheese pizza, caramelized some banana. It's beautiful. So
another great pizza.
So please, yeah. So like looking at, if anyone doesn't know the stats, so Grayscale, who are just an investment firm, they have bought approximately 150% worth of all of the coins that have been mined since the last halvening, which means that they're just snapping up coins at a fast rate of knots. And they're not the only investment firm to go in. Like, there's quite a few that have come in recently. And I think it's just a really, 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 really big indicator. Plus the legal institutions that have got into place that say that they're going to provide legal support and accounting support for all these big crypto exchanges. So I forget sometimes just how small and how early we are in this market, but I think it's really important to not underestimate what that's going to do. And I think that kind of touches on what Richard was saying earlier, where so few people are aware of crypto still, even though sometimes I think everyone knows about it. I just assume everyone's aware of it, but They're absolutely not. And it's seeing if the industry gets co-opted. And I don't know if you caught the video recently from it was another digital asset news video, and at the tail end of it, a Wall Street like not expert, but someone that's tried and tested on there, just said that the tricks they've been using in the stock market for years are going to find their way into crypto. But when you delved into it, what she was referring to was where they effectively have Bitcoin funds, and you'll put your money into a fund and it would be backed against Bitcoin. So you think you've bought a Bitcoin and we're holding a Bitcoin for you, but in reality, they deleverage it. So they stop buying Bitcoin. You still think you're buying Bitcoin, and we're back into the whole concept of printing money out of thin air. So in that way, you could think the market's growing because more and more people are investing money, but actually they're not buying the Bitcoin, which means it's not positively affecting the crypto market. So I don't know if anyone's got any points they want to make on. You don't get that?
Is that talking about? It's not the same as derivatives, is it? In the same way? I suppose it depends on the space. Say with Bitcoin, would they be able to do? They wouldn't be able to do that because you could see the acquisition of, the actual coin. You should be able to see the acquisitions of the coins on the blockchain.
They can.
So it's isn't it?
So what she said was that if the SEC, whoever does the checking, they've got a name for it, right? And she went through it and she explained how you shouldn't even be able to do it right now, but they already do it with stocks, and it's called phantom something. And so she said that if the checkers, whoever does the audits, actually, if they didn't check the normal way, but instead they said, right, what's your wallet address? How many have you bought and what have you sold? If they actually use blockchain, then it would get completely mitigated. It could all be automatically checked, and they could actually reduce workload. Her fear is that the people that check them currently will go and check them exactly the same, and they won't do anything differently. And if they do that, her concern is that Wall Street are Wall Street. They will make money how they want to make money. And if they've been using these tools over here for decades, and they've got a new asset class over here, she said they'll just bring them over here. She said she's got absolutely no hesitation that they'll do that. To just re-explain it to Ollie, in the same way that fiat right now, once of a day, you bought a pound and it pegged to some gold, yeah, and you could go back into your bank and say, here's all my notes, I want my gold. And then at some point we deleveraged it from gold. So at some point, for every pound, for every £100 a bank lent, a bank had to keep 50 quid. And then the government said, actually, for every £100 you lend, you only need to keep a tenner. And then it was every £100 you lend, you just need to keep a pound. And if you're in America now, you don't have to keep anything. You can just lend money out. And as soon as you lend that money out, that sits on your book as an asset, which makes you worth more money. And if you lent it to another bank, they can lend that out, and that sits on their books. And so all you get is this cascade of more and more money being created with nothing behind it. And so she's saying that the same thing would happen with fund managers and Bitcoin, that at first they'd say, don't buy Bitcoin, it's risky. Just buy it through us, like Van Eck are doing. You can buy into their funds now, and they're buying the coins for you. They're custodians, they're called. But she's saying that they'll move to a space where they'll just take your money, stop buying it. They'll still pay you out and everything, but the point is that there's no equal pegged ratio between what they sell and what they're buying from the market.
The answer to that is that you need as many people as possible need to get educated to unlearn the system they think they trust to actually buy their own Bitcoin or whatever asset it is, and not let these brokers that are just leeching on the system do what they've done before, isn't it? You know what I mean? And that's where the passion for this comes from. Really, it's potentially the last chance, or certainly the chance at the moment for actually owning our own money, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's so interesting though. Go on, Dan.
No, it's cool.
You eat your pizza. Yeah, it's so interesting though. You know, to Julie the other day about just the money markets, investing, stockbroking. It's just amazing how like they've just managed to convince everybody that Everest and no one else can understand it. I mean, it's so like I remember like Lola, my daughter, who's 8. I was explaining to her how how the money works, how stockbroking works. She understood it. I mean, not to the level of the guys that are trading it, but possibly, she could, I don't want to say this properly, but there's a potential that I explained to her to a level that many grown-ups don't even understand it, because they've just kind of put themselves in a place where they're like, oh, I could never run that. Never, like, it's too complicated. But actually, it's not. It's just so interesting how the media and the bankers have actually convinced us that it's something that we can't understand. And it just puts us all in a place where we, to some extent, the same way people are approaching Bitcoin. I mean, yeah, there is stuff to learn. Not everyone's going to be able to know everything about it. There's almost a timidness or a kind of, I'm not going to be able to learn it, so I'm not going to get involved.
Well, it comes down to disempowerment. Like most civilians and most of the populace are disempowered about their own choices. This is the whole thing when you start talking about the system, and irrelevant of what your view is of governments and conspiracies and all that stuff. Yeah, we live in a system, and we are dictated to about how things are, and that system is I'm not saying it's purposely built to disempower, but a byproduct of the system, by hook or by crook, is disempowerment, because we aren't taught to make our own sovereign choices. We aren't taught to be able to understand things. We're not encouraged to understand things, or if we are, that encouragement doesn't work. And I think it's only the generation that's coming through today that are challenging things, because for so long, and I go back to my mum's generation and older, wealth was for them, and then there was us. And if you weren't born into that world, it was very difficult to transition between the two. And it's only since entrepreneurship became a thing, and really that there was anything, that this emerging middle class was able to come up and start businesses. And that whole generation of this emerging middle class only started 50 years ago ish, where more people could access a low to upper middle class. So this whole idea about financial education, which is effectively like what we're talking about, or education around your choices as a sovereign human being, is only just starting to come into it. And
amazing place to start with it is like the videos I gave to when you learned the videos about the gold guy, Elaine. You understand the difference between money and currency. Yeah. Just understanding that and how that system is rigged against you. Yeah. Once you follow that path, once you understand that, I think that something just clicks in you at all level. The walls pulled away from your eyes, and you're able to unlearn the stuff that you thought you knew, right? Yeah. You've been fed, and that's what they are relying on us just not understanding those basic fundamentals about how they've rigged it. You know what I mean? And I did exactly the same with my son Dylan. And that doesn't seem fair. You know what I mean? And even to a kid, they just get it, right? They get it. And we've grown up not getting it because there was a fundamental thing, and we weren't taught. We weren't taught it, right? And I think it's so that fundamental thing is just such a key thing into unlocking.
I want to ask Tammy a question, if that's okay, because you're on here, Tammy. What stops you actually buying some crypto? I'm not challenging in any way. I don't know where you're at or anything, but I'm just curious from your
Well,
perspective.
I think a little bit about what you've all kind of touched on really this evening. So a little bit about unlearning what you think you know to be doing, lack of knowledge, but also I think like what you've all just really said, it's the fear of thinking I can't understand that and I'll never understand that. But actually, if you just take the time, it's quite easy to digest. But it's almost instilled in you to have that fear exactly to so it goes for the single individuals. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you understand sort of the basics of cryptocurrency? How it's the same, how it's different? You know, the money that you use on a daily basis at the moment.
If I'm honest, no. And obviously I've followed the group and I've been on the group and quite a few videos. But if I'm honest, I feel like recently, and this might sound really like out there for you guys, and I think Daniel might understand this, but I feel like there's been so many messages coming to me from where that I feel like I'm stupid if I ignore this. I'm daft to ignore these signs that I'm getting, that actually this is going to be potentially the way forward in the way of a new world and to
Well, yeah, I think for sure that's don't ignore the signs ever, and I'm the same, and I ended up on this journey for exactly the same reason as your pick.
Was it just curiosity initially?
Well, I think I started with it years ago because I'm interested in blockchain, and I mean sort of dabbled, didn't actually do any projects, but sort of worked with people on ideas. And then, like 3 years ago, Tammy, like we're in the same as Daniel said, 3 years ago, same position now where, you know, cryptocurrencies just went crazy and it's possible to make lots of money.
Yeah.
So I had some spare money at the time, put it into cryptocurrency and made some decent money, but also didn't because I did this, you know what I mean? So at that point, that was my entry into it, and then I kind of ducked out of it for various reasons, and then I've got back into it, but understood the fundamentals a lot better. I
think that's the important. That's isn't it really?
I genuinely think from certainly I can only speak from my perspective. I'll just say the same thing again. It's understanding the history of money.
Yeah.
I think I forget who it was you that put in Eisenstein book, Sacred Economics, or was it someone else?
What recommending Charles Eisenstein?
The Sacred Economics book.
No, I'm only new into Eisenstein, so I wouldn't have recommended it to anybody. I don't think so, anyway.
Someone in the Future Leaders WhatsApp group mentioned Sacred Economics. I think it's very intellectual. You miss a lot of it. It was great because it's talking about some of the things we're talking about here, which is such fundamentals about why money exists in the first place, what the difference between money and currency is, what it's there for, what human rights over it, like sort of massive concepts about something that we just think we just exchange for.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's got it's good, it's got bad, right? It's positive, it's negative, but it's fundamental to human existence and progress, but it's been misappropriated in so many different ways.
Yeah.
What's for about, because it's one of the only ones at the moment that is the least controlled out of most of the cryptocurrencies, is that purity. And I think you know, this say, what is it, phrase, gold and silver is God's money. The you know, fiat currency is bankers' money, people's money. It's sort of that you know, looking at the history of money and you know, going back through time. I think it's that we're in that sort of evolutionary period at the moment. So the same fascinating about the whole thing, but I think it's that decoupling our brain completely from how we use money at the moment and how it's abused as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. No, I'll have a look at that. I'll go back and have a look at some of these suggestions that you were making. Thank you.
And from just to, because you wouldn't have been on some of the calls earlier, like everyone that I've spoke to on all of these Zoom calls, pretty much we all share very similar views on how we see the world and just how we just take our own view of what signs are. So don't feel that that nothing's not able to be shared. But like for myself, I'd swore blind I would never go near anything that had a chart. Like in theory, I consider myself the worst person to be anything near the words buying and selling, because I just lose all my money. But then one day, I couldn't stop thinking about crypto, and I can't tell you, I can't give you any reason why. It's not that I saw signs, but I became very acutely aware that I thought about it day and night, literally. And I hadn't watched any videos, and I was walking with my partner. And I said to her, I said, I need to say something. She said, what? And I said, I think I need to trade crypto. And she said, what on earth would you even want to trade crypto for? I said, I don't know. I said, but I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about it. And then she said, well, if that's what you want to do, like start looking into it. And literally the next day I just started watching videos, and I would stay up to like 4 a.m. every night for like 2 months, getting like 4 hours sleep every night, just consuming as much stuff as I could. And it's after that I started speaking to Ollie. I think, I don't know. You tell I don't have kids. So it's one of these things that, seconding a little bit like what everyone said here, is that when the penny drops, when you just start to see what's actually happening, like and there's so many different facets to understand what's happening. It's like being aware that the internet's being made whilst you know what the internet is. Like we all know what the internet is now, yeah. This is going to have a bigger impact than the internet has had, and the internet has had arguably the biggest impact that we've ever had since the printing press. So when you start to see that, and then you start to look at what media say about it, and there is a narrative that generally says it's either confusing, scary, you lose your money, it's for terrorists, you know, this collective consciousness, and it just makes people go, oh, I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing. And this goes back to this narrative that doesn't empower people to learn about their own finances. And we are in, and I don't like Dan Penner, for anyone that knows him on here, but he says some interesting things. And the thing that I love, good old Bearable Bull has it at the end of every one of his clips, like, we're going through the greatest transfer of wealth in human history right now. And 99% of the planet, arguably more, aren't even aware that it's happening, let alone not participating in it. So some of the planet might be aware that we're going through it, but still don't do anything. But most of the planet aren't even aware it's happening. And every day that becomes more real to me as I see what's occurring. And you see these big companies like VanEck and Grayscale, who are in charge of trillions of dollars, positioning themselves, governments getting CBDC, central bank digital currencies, getting them prepared. And most people are just walking around thinking the world's just a bit weird, but I'll try my best to carry on. And it's really disheartening to see. And that's one of the reasons why I made this group, was because I don't know everything at all. Like I know like this much, but I know enough to help and empower some people to know this much. And if you know that much, I promise you, you know more than a lot of people. That's how little information there is out there, because it's confusing and it's scary and it's contradicting everywhere you go. And the minute you start learning, you speak to your mum or your neighbor, and they just say, oh, and they'll just repeat whatever their circle of friends say about Bitcoin or crypto or whatever's going on.
Yeah, that's very, very, very true.
That's what needs to change. That's one of the reasons I was asking the question, like, what's stopping you, is because I love the fact that most or all of what you know about crypto has come from being in that group. That warms my heart to know that that's occurred. But what would warm my heart more is like what happened with Alan, who knew nothing and was literally scared shitless, and literally went from that to, we had to push him a little bit with his own empowerment to just put a tenner on. That's it. Yeah. And the minute you've broken that barrier and you've gone on the site and on your phone and you've attached your card to it and you've clicked a few buttons and you've bought something, it all starts to make more sense. And then the minute you send some money and they've got it in seconds around the world, which is just like a tiny little part of what crypto can do, you start to just begin to expand your awareness of it. So I would love you at some point to just break that barrier and just experience it, because I think once you've done it a couple of times, you'll understand it much faster, because there is no experience like personal experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I'll be the next Alan very soon.
Alan can be our role model
because he was convinced it was amazing. It was amazing because he came in feeling like he needed to know everything about it before he made a decision, and he was willing, I don't know, quid on a course or just to get someone to tell him what to do. And we were like, well, why don't you just take part of that money and just figure it out, because you'll learn more than you will than someone who's going to
that's
trying to guide you.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to say it's like conditioning, isn't it? It's like it's conditioning, perhaps, and that's probably similar to where I'm at. But what would you guys sort of suggest in terms of an influence? And I know that would depend on people's circumstances, etc. But what would you all suggest?
5-10 quid. I think, honestly, it's not
understanding.
It's understanding how it works, because, as you know, we're talking about public and private keys. I mean, at the start, and there's so many different parts of it that seem crazy, but I think if you even I can't even remember how long we've been doing it. Say 10 years, right? 10 years ago, you had to go into you had to create a check, or you had to go in the bank to access your money, right? Came out that it meant you could access. You had online banking, then you had a security device. You forget how quickly you adapted to that situation. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe you've always had it, but I remember it, and it's such a weird. It was weird. Kind of like, do I trust this? But it's around using different tools and security devices that even now I'm still moving money crypto from one wallet, from an exchange to a wallet. And you have that moment where you think, shit, have I pressed the right thing? Have I done it? And it's a lot easier than it's probably, in fact, it's probably easier to fuck up sending crypto than it is to fuck up your bank, because if you fuck up sending crypto, you've lost it, basically. There's no getting it back, basically. So there's some added pressure there for sure.
Yeah.
I had this idea, I wasn't sure. I said I was going to send you £5. If I was going to, I had this idea. I was thinking of putting it to the group where I would say I would send £5 of my Bitcoin to someone, right, in order for them just to, they can get £5 of my Bitcoin, but they've got to do these 3 or 4 things basically, and everyone could basically, you could then receive that £5 of Bitcoin. I could help you through that process. You question, what about this? What about that? Then you've got that, and then I'd say, but your thing is now you've got to send that £5 of Bitcoin on to someone else that doesn't know it.
Like pay it forward in a way.
Yeah. And then you just passing on what you know at that point, and then come into this group and we can start talking about it. It's breaking that barrier first, and I think that's what was so cool about Alan, was that he was stuck. He was completely stuck, but all he had to do was just go, just move forward. And if I said I'm going to send you, you might be more likely to, you want to do it. I feel obligated to do it. Then you've got an obligation to keep doing it. I think that's quite a nice idea. That 5 stops people just move it around. I mean,
like you said, it breaks the seal as well.
Let's start it today. Tammy.
Yeah.
If you open a wallet with somebody, and I can give you the links. There's just 2 places you start with, Coinbase or crypto.com. They're both apps. They're both user retail friendly.
Yeah.
open an account, create a wallet, and one of us is going to send you £5 worth of coin. And it just starts that process.
Right.
I think it's a really good idea, Richard. I think it's a really good idea, and because I can't stress enough. Richard said it. We talked about it already. Like education in general as human beings, but specifically around what's going on right now. I don't want to wake up. I'm very happy with the fact that my parents got a computer. That meant, because I'm a xennial. I'm in this 10-year gap where I grew up climbing trees and at some point got a computer. And I think that really helped me understand technology at a younger age compared to people of my peers. And I know that at some point I'm going to wake up and the world is going to be very different.
Yeah.
And I never thought that would happen. I remember growing up thinking, I'll listen to Radio 1 forever. I haven't put Radio 1 on in years, yeah. And you think all these things are static, and you'll have had your own as well, like growing up. So I know at some point I'll look around the world, and I know that some kid will say to me, "Is it true that you used to go on the internet with a keyboard?" And a keyboard,
or you used to have something in your hand.
Or so yeah,
called
what? So the phone was in your hand. Yeah. Whoa. What if you lost it? Oh yeah, we did lose it. And we broke the screen. It had a screen. That's going to be a conversation. So blockchain, when you see what's happening with blockchain, starting to just get it a little bit, will be the same. I remember my mum, I hope you don't mind me sharing this story, Mum. I remember you telling me the story of the first time you had to use a mouse.
Oh, yes.
and
that was...
would you like to just share it over a minute or two?
Well, I couldn't control it. You got your hand on the mouse here, and that was using a computer at work, and that's got to be, I don't know, a long time ago, 20 years probably. And so somebody's showing me, and I'm moving this mouse, and it's going zooming over there, and then it's going zooming over there, and it's everywhere. And it was frightening because I didn't know how to use it.
Well, you also haven't built the micro muscles to move it really slowly. Like now it's like nothing you'd ever thought of. But the first time, it's like using a trackball the first time, trying to control that. So I think
you
that
said the computer at work, like I said,
no, actually,
I remember at school we had a school computer.
Amstrads, yeah.
That's why I was really happy when we went to our high school. Our high school had just got a computer room with,
I remember that,
the old Macs that were tall, and they had a floppy disk drive here, and that was like, we have a computer room, because prior to that we just had a little Amstrad. So so you've got £5 there, Tammy. So I'll send you them on the group now, just so that you can see them. I'll put them in the main group.
Thanks, guys, and I hope I've not held you back in terms of conversation. I know you're saying groups for everybody, but I also don't want to. I don't want to hold you back on conversations that you want to have. That's maybe a little bit, more in depth than ones that we've had this evening. So
you'd probably be surprised. These are actually the conversations sometimes we want to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well, thanks, guys.
Both apps on farm. So I think I'm probably going to just look at wrapping it. Like we're on a late call tonight, and I appreciate people coming on. Let me just check there wasn't anything else. I definitely at some point I want to discuss staking with people. I've kind of pushed it away for a while, but I've realized that I'm sat on coin in a wallet doing nothing. And if I move them from a wallet to somewhere that stakes, I can get anywhere from 6 to 15% a year, which is not to be laughed at. Staking is like the crypto's equivalent of, we'll give you interest if you keep your money with us.
How much have you used crypto.com in terms of Do you just use it as an exchange, or?
I actually don't even use it as an exchange.
Right, as a wallet.
I just have access to it. It's Alan that got me. I couldn't buy a coin on Bitcoin one day because it wouldn't accept my fiat. So I thought, oh, I'll just use crypto.com, and I was like, boom, 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 and I was like, well, that was pretty cool actually. And then I ordered a credit card from them, a debit card, which still hasn't come. And then I started realizing all of its other options, and it's very fast becoming the major competitor for Binance.
Muted yourself, mate.
Yeah, it's because I was just exiting a little bit. So I know very little about it, but I'm interested in it. And with Crypto Lark recently, when Crypto Lark, and he went through his portfolio, and he has a certain allocation of all of his coin that's long-term hold. When he knows it's long-term, he moves it to a staking platform, and he stakes and he lends. And when he lends, he gets anywhere up to 20%, and he's secured. So even if it crashed, he get his money back. And I'm hearing that, thinking,
it's amazing. What we do is just why would you leave it on the hardware wallet? It's the same thing. I think I've looked at crypto.com. I think is a month of my life. I think before because there's so many facets to it, each level. And I think you need to know what you do and make sure you don't lose money, because I think because I don't know if you've looked at it, Ollie, as well, but they've got MCO tokens and CRO tokens, and MCO tokens, which I think they originally launched with, which I think have got a value on. People are worried that they've shielded those somehow, and they're linked to they're linked to the staking, and they're linked to the credit card. But the credit card is the thing that they're pushing at the moment to adopt to crypto.com, I think, or acquisition anyway, if people go into it. But the CRO coin, I think, is one it's jumped into the top 10, I think, hasn't it, as well, or certainly top 20.
I think it did, yeah. I think I saw it the other day.
So that's gone up massively in value at the moment, but it's that thing. I think you have to put in, I forget what the numbers are, but I think it's up to about 2,800 quid to a certain 10% return, and then the more you put in, the more you get. But then you can do all the things that Alan was doing, which is you can get put into a syndicate if you've staked enough coins to them by, or I don't know, whatever it is they're promoting at a discounted rate. So there's lots of really good things about it. I do think it's genuinely going to be the new Coinbase in terms of like easy adoption for people to get into the crypto space. So they're perfectly positioned, aren't they? They're definitely going to be the Amazon of crypto for the next 5 years, I reckon, anyway.
Well, let's cover on because I think I don't know much about staking, but I definitely want to understand it, because it looks pretty safe from everything I've been seeing. They're all insurance backed, some of them, and they're offering anywhere from like 3, 4, 5% all the way up to 15%. Some people are very clever and they'll move every other month to whoever's offering the most. Some people are just happy locked in at 8% for 3, 4 years. So I'd like to cover staking fully on a call, but I need to do my own bit of dabbling into it. So I definitely like to pull that up on the next one, and I want to cover at some point the conversation that Richard you asked for, which was around efficient tax planning. Because if you're going to buy something and you're going to get 100x return, and suddenly your 10, 20 grand is now worth 200 grand, what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, I've spent some money on tax advice for that, so I can certainly help with it. The only thing I'd say is, I don't know if you noticed, I think Digital Asset News guy covered it, is that the IRS have got their hooks into Coinbase now. That's in America. IRS being the revenue in America. They're saying it's just for data, so just understanding data, but they don't believe that. So it's only a matter of time before HMRC do the same thing with Coinbase. And there's something like, was it 22? It was some insane amount of they're all the money on their on Coinbase left it because for that exact reason. So people are just leaving Coinbase in droves for that reason.
Well, if you move to,
it's an awful platform as well.
If you move to crypto.com, they've just been the first organization to get the ISO standard for data privacy and security. So it's like Coinbase has become more government supporting, and crypto.com has gone the other way down traditional crypto routes, which is completely private. So I'm much more lean towards crypto.com. But I learned something the other day. Have you heard of a coin wash?
Well, I was talking to CoinJoin. I was talking to about CoinJoin, which is a similar sort of Whirlpool app.
Yeah.
It's to do with the Whirlpool as well. I don't fully understand it, but yeah, I don't understand what it does, but it hides your Bitcoin, right?
So what it does is, so let's say right now I want to send 10 Bitcoin to Elaine, right, my mom, and assuming I'm using a Bitcoin address that's with a company, so like Binance, let's say, or Coinbase, and they've got my name. Because I could go somewhere and get a completely anonymous Bitcoin address, but let's assume that I am who I am, and mum's who she is. Then when I send that, assuming that these exchanges have got some deal with the government, they can say, okay, here's everyone that's in England and here's their addresses. And they can go, oh, okay, so 10 Bitcoin was sent to Elaine, why? They could ask. A coin wash or coin jumble, or there's lots of words for it, is where I'll say, I'll log into a site that's completely independent and I want to send 10 Bitcoin to Elaine. And I'll register that. And what happens is they wait until there's 100 Bitcoin. So Richard, I don't know who you are, Richard. You just log on, you want to do something. Ollie, you want to do something. Tammy, who cares? Loads of people just go, I want to send Bitcoin. And then the coin wash basically takes everyone's coins, jumbles up all the addresses, and then sends them all out. So it's a bit like a Tor router, like with an onion Tor router, you hop between addresses so that no one can track you back. So these coin jumbles are completely legal, nothing dodgy about them at all. Obviously, people will be using them for whatever reason they want. But what it means is you can't trace me sending money to Elaine. I just sent money to a coin wash. That's it. Now, will governments have an issue with that in the future? Maybe. But I think it's being aware of these things, and it's understanding that crypto offers security and it offers a lot of things, but don't be fooled that governments won't be trying to put their claws in. And I would say, if you're going to put any money, because this is where I'm at the minute, is really realizing that all this money I've put in, if that all grows, what does that mean for tax implications? And I'm not trying to avoid paying any tax at all. I just want to make sure I'm smart, like I would be with my business. It's my assets at the end of the day, and beginning to understand, what do we do with that? But I think it's best that we cover that definitely on another call. Probably by that time, Tammy will have got her wallet, and she'll have £5 worth of Bitcoin in there.
I will. I definitely will.
Cool.
No, probably about it, Danielle. It's happening.
And then
it's all right if I add you on Facebook, Tammy, because I'd like to follow it up if that's all right. I'd like to send you my file. I'd like to kick it off with you, because as you.
Yeah. Let's do the pay. We'll do the pay it forward, definitely.
Right, cool.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Richard.
Crypto it forward, block it forward. You need to find a nice name to bring underneath that. Start a whole revolution. Let's wake people up through blockchain.
Movement, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I love your analogies, by the way, Daniel. I love how you. It's how my mind works when you put it all into an analogy. I'm like, yeah, I'm following that one.
I do like analogies. I'm slowly accepting that I do quite like analogies. I'm good at them. I don't quite know how to monetize it or use it, but I'll just keep helping with them. So thank you very much. All right, guys. So leave it at that. It's always nice to see everybody. And we're going to do these every single week now. I'm going to block them all in. What I'll do is I'm going to use that booking system because it makes it easy. But when it comes to call time, I'll also just post the link so that it's nice and easy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's really been useful, everybody. Thank you.
Cool. That's really, really good. Anyone got anything they want to say before they go?
Bye.
Die. Okay. Right, everyone. Look, take care.
Have a good
Much
week.
love, and have a
Good
nice
to
week.
meet you all.
Cheers, Tammy. Thanks for coming on. Bye bye.
Cheers.
Take care, guys.